slanderous thing to say. You are supposed to be the guy. You are supposed to be the dude that knows what anti-Semitism looks like. Imagine dropping the ball this spectacularly. Last night, 2 people that work for the Israeli embassy were shot. 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum in D.C. Okay? This is breaking news. And a lot of people instantly rushed online to get their thoughts out.
Heartbreaking and senseless again, and that is where we're going to start this morning with that shocking news from Washington that you're waking up to. Last night, 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed as they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Now, video from the scene shows the arrest of a man who appears to be the shooter. The victims have been identified as a young couple who were set to be engaged. They were killed right across the street from an FBI field office and less than a mile from the U.S. Capitol. Scott McFarland is near the scene right now. Scott, good morning. I know that this is a very fluid situation right now, but what can you tell us so far?
Hey, Gail, the Capitol Jewish Museum is that smaller brick building behind me, if you look closely at your screen. And that police tape is hanging from the side of the Washington, D.C. FBI field office. That's how high security.
Have you seen everyone trying to call it a false flag event? I think people's brains have been cooked, but I get why people think that. There are a million different opinions out there. Some people think, oh, it's great. I'm glad that this happened. Other people say this is the most heinous act of violence that has ever taken place. Please do not pay attention to the dead Palestinian children, that Israel is melting at a rapid clip, and instead talk about this. There are plenty of people who are using this as an opportunity to be like, this is a heinous anti-Semitic act of violence. Everyone that says free Palestine should be instantly jailed, all this stuff. Ultimately, I mean, look, this is, let's just go through the details, and I'll give you my perspective. Okay. What the is said to be engaged mean? Are they engaged to be married? Said to be engaged is they're humanizing the victims in this situation. That's why they're this is how it goes. Obviously, there's no such humanization, of course, when the victim of an Islamophobic attack is a 7-year-old child, and that doesn't happen obviously in the United States of America. But the reason why they're talking about it is because he bought a ring to basically announce his engagement to the girl that he was dating. They're both in the Israeli embassy area. But the reason why people are like saying this is a psyop is for 2 reasons. I don't think it is, for the record. And I'll tell you why. The reason why people think it's a psyop is because this happened right after the Israeli occupying force shot at diplomats in the West Bank. And immediately people with maybe a little bit too much pattern recognition turn around and go, ooh, that's probably a way, like they probably executed these like low-level Israeli diplomats so that they can like change the SEO or whatever when people type in Israeli diplomat attack or something. And no, that's not the case. That's ridiculous. Or, people think it's a psyop or people think it's a psyop because like they're just like low-level Israel embassy workers because low-level embassy workers because they claim, they want to change like the victimhood narrative back to Israel or something. Okay. But of course, there are a lot of pro-Israeli accounts that are using this opportunity, as they use any opportunity, to turn around and say, oh my God, we have to stop people from saying free Palestine, which is ridiculous. Suck my, okay? Actually, suck my. Yeah, you're right. This, because of this incident, we should actually just close our eyes to the genocide that Israel is doing. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable bargain.
And we are steps away from the Justice Department, from the D.C. police headquarters, from the U.S. Capitol. This was nevertheless the scene of a targeted attack last night.
Tonight, a heinous crime was committed.
A fatal shooting outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C.
Damn, he hit that Jewish hard.
Wednesday night. Law enforcement says prior to the attack, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside the museum.
he approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security.
This morning, the Israeli Foreign Ministry named the 2 victims as Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, embassy staff workers in Washington.
I don't know about the girl, but I know the dude's background. I've looked into the dude's background, and the dude is like a Jews for Jesus guy. He is a German Christian originally, which makes the story even crazier when people are like, oh, dude, this is an anti-Semitic hate crime. It's like, bro, very clearly, the dude even wrote a manifesto, the dude that did it, okay? The dude that did it wrote a manifesto, and it's entirely about Israel, okay? Like, entirely about Israel. The victims are Israeli embassy workers, and not only that, but also, like, one of the dudes that work for the Israeli embassy is a German Christian, like a German Christian that was, I guess he like changed his name or something. I don't know what's going on there. Like but regardless, this could have been anti-Semitic or not. I don't know. Could he have known that they were staff, or did he just target random people leaving the museum? Impossible to tell. And the possibility of backlash from the state is terrifying. This is how Kristallnacht started. Exactly. And to be, yes, I don't think that the person who, like, the gunman knew exactly who he was targeting. And the reality of the matter is, this is, I'll give you an example. Yeah, the dude also volunteered for the IDF, even though he's, dude, I thought they were Israelis. No, the dude is.
A young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem.
The suspect, who's now in custody, was identified by police as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. The FBI says it's investigating ties to potential terrorism and his motivation.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
Witnesses say Rodriguez was with them inside the museum after the shooting before they realized who he was.
So about 10 minutes later, when the cops actually came in, he said, "I did this." He said, "Sir, I'm unarmed." He put his hands up, he grabbed a red keffiyeh out of his pocket and started the Free Palestine chants.
President Trump responded to the shooting.
He dude, oh my God. He hit like every button he possibly could. By the way, he was Christian. She was an American Jew. None of them were Israeli, yet they are literally working for Israel. Insane that these people don't have to register as foreign agents. I know, it's kind of the point. That's how it works. Like, it's just, if he had yelled from the river to the sea, that would have nuked him. No, dude. Him saying free Palestine, and also having like the red keffiyeh on the ground, like all of that is so perfectly placed for the government to say, if you have a red keffiyeh, you're going to jail, you're a terrorist. If you say free Palestine, you're going to jail, you're a terrorist. Like, it is, I don't think it's a false flag or anything, but it's so perfectly designed for the government to utilize in an effort to stop people from saying, like, Israel, please stop murdering children. Like, it is so perfectly designed. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Posting these horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end. Adding, hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA.
Dude, you are Donald Trump. What are you saying? Donald Trump saying this is like a Hitler saying this, okay? It's like, what do you mean hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA? You literally won on hatred and radicalism. You are Donald Trump. Did you forget who you are? Yesterday, he literally was talking about how there's a white genocide happening in South Africa. It is literally a white nationalist conspiracy that virtually no one believes. White people in South Africa don't believe it. And only a select handful neo-Nazis advance this conspiracy theory. And Donald Trump is one of those guys now. This isn't Trump, is just a staffer.
Trump contacted Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was with the Israeli ambassador.
Together with President Trump, our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will stand together tall and firm, and we will confront this moral depravity without fear and with determination.
Israel's prime minister says they are strengthening security arrangements at their posts at their Israeli government facilities across the globe. An initial search by law enforcement.
The event was not a Jewish LGBTQ event earlier. Chatter lied. It was an event for Israeli diplomats. AJC's access, young diplomats reception. That's what it was, right? The American Jewish Center or whatever. Like that's what here. AJC's event targeted in DC shooting was AJC's young diplomats reception about response to humanitarian crises. The event Wednesday night at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. outside of the deadly shooting. Also, don't say the person was lying, okay? Don't immediately assume that they were lying. They could have been misguided, okay? Calm down. Yeah, I don't endorse the notion of it being a false flag, but here's the video of him being apprehended. I know, I saw this, which is why I was like, this is insane. Like the way, like, look, there is a, like the guy picks up the keffiyeh from the ground. This isn't even the best version of this video. Because like, I think he literally takes it out of his pocket or something and like tosses it. By the way, one of the craziest parts about this in this video is that there are dudes there. This guy just shot people. He is turning himself in. He says, free, free Palestine. And there's still motherfuckers there that are going from Hamas. I was like, bro, do you have no sense of safety? Like, how embedded is this in your mind? Like, automatically, you hear someone go free Palestine, and you go from Hamas. It blew my mind. I was like, dude, no sense of being. No, you're just like, at that point, you are just a vehicle for Israel. You are in DC as an American citizen, and you are so invested in like behaving like a bot that you hear free Palestine, and immediately, even after, like, you don't know what the situation is. You don't know if there's a bomb there. You don't know if there's other shooters there. You are literally just auto Hasbara bot mode. You hear free Palestine. You go, from Hamas. You know what I'd be doing in that situation? Running away. That's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be like immediately, time for the retort. Like, you're not a part of a barbershop quartet or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay? What do you mean? Free Palestine from Hamas. Like, what? Like, that's insane. That's insane. Free Palestine. They are definitely going to start clamping down on Palestine protests just before Israel's displacement plan. Yeah, I think so too. I think so as well. I mean, it's like saying that they're going to clamp down on pro-Palestinian protests now is kind of funny too, because it's like, now you mean, they have been doing that already pretty aggressively. As a matter of fact, they've been doing that. So I don't think that that's like anything new. They'll just like escalate it. Did you see PSL National's tweet? Yes. So the alleged perpetrator yesterday was a former PSL member. So of course, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. For those of you who don't know what PSL is, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation. We reject any attempt to associate the PSL with the DC shooting. Elias Rodriguez is not a member of the PSL. He had a brief association with one branch of the PSL that ended in 2017. We know of no contact with him in over 7 years. We have nothing to do with this shooting and do not support it. So I think it's of course appropriate to say this. Like, it's appropriate for them to come out and say this. And that's also part of the reason why I talked to a bunch of my other friends as well this morning. Like, no person, especially no person like immediately affiliated with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, who are fantastic organizers overall, no organizer is going to do something like this. And no organizer is going to associate their organization with something like this, because organizers understand that this level of association with an act such as this one will be catnip for the federal government, who is already using every avenue they can to clamp down on free speech and free association. So before people get like in their feelings and go, what? I can't believe that they're saying this. Like, don't be a moron. They're probably still going to aggressively come after PSL anyway. They're probably aggressively going to come after any and every pro-Palestinian person, myself included. They've already even started coming after myself, as far as I understand. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy times that we are a part of, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to keep saying the truth. If you think that I'm going to stop saying the truth about Israel, about what Israel is doing, which is a live-streamed child holocaust that Israel is committed to, and the only way that they are able to do this is by unlimited munitions that they get from the United States of America. If you think I'm going to stop talking about that, you are out of your mind. I think the real dangerous thing to do here is, if you are the president of a advocacy organization that is tasked with combating anti-Semitism, using that position of prominence at a time when anti-Semitism is skyrocketing to basically come after people that you don't like, people that you know are not anti-Semitic, in an effort to call for their deplatforming, is psychotic. And of course, that is what I'm going to talk about now as well. The head of the ADL directly blames Hassan the Hun for the DC shooting. The full force of the U.S. government is about to come down on him. When these things happen, politicians look for a scapegoat to show that they're doing something. Hassan will be that guy. To which I quote retweeted, I said, Israel's an apartheid state doing a live stream genocide. I think it's wrong and dangerous to conflate these heinous actions with Jews. The Apartheid Defense League doesn't, because they think they can improve Israel's standing by silencing its critics. It won't change the truth. That is one of the most insane things, by the way. One of the most insane things is, like, immediately after, like, the bodies haven't even gotten cold yet, and Jonathan Greenblatt goes on CNN to be like, you know who killed these people? Hassan played a big role in this. It's like there is unprecedented amount of overt anti-Semitism out there, and this freak is looking to blame someone like myself for it. You are just such an unserious charlatan, dude. Quit, okay? Resign in disgrace. Disband the organization. Stop doing this.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists.
Like, that's so psychotic to say. No, I don't, okay? No, I don't. Against Jewish people, genocidal rhetoric that I regularly apply. Also, gamer? I haven't played a video game in months. Utterly depraved shit, by the way. Utterly depraved shit. He's like, whoa, a shooting took place against people that worked at the Israeli embassy. Time to immediately make this about my favorite villain. Like, what are you insane? Like, what are you doing? This is the reason why, for the record, nobody cares about what ADL says anymore. It's lost its institutional motion. And the reason why it's lost its institutional motion and prominence is because this is what Jonathan Greenblatt is busy with. Like, he already cooked the books so aggressively by expanding on the definition of anti-Semitic attacks and made it something so ridiculous at this point, where someone says from the river to the sea, Palestine would be freed. That's logged as an anti-Semitic attack. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you are out of your mind. Also, simultaneously, while doing that, he's like running defense for the likes of Elon Musk with regular frequency, because Elon Musk is obviously pro-Israel, and Elon Musk is part of the administration that's pro-Israel. I have always stood against anti-Semitism, even at times when the ADL did not. Okay? Suck, you bald. Anyway.
Should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment.
Yeah, he's like, please ban him. Please ban him. Just take my word for it. Please. He's anti-Semitic. I promise. He says genocidal things about Jewish people. What an insanely slanderous thing to say. You are supposed to be the guy. You are supposed to be the dude that knows what anti-Semitism looks like. Imagine dropping the ball this spectacularly. Like, listen to me. I don't even think I'm this relevant to the anti-Zionist cause, okay? He's so horny for deplatforming that this is like, I've become I've become this white whale that he's chasing down for some reason. Okay, let's say you pressure institutions hard enough that Twitch actually enforces some sort of ban, okay? And then what? I go on YouTube, I start my, I continue live streaming on YouTube. YouTube is not going to take these kinds of pressures seriously. It's just totally and utterly ridiculous because guess what? Even if I'm no longer on Twitch, even if I get banned on Twitch, you think that the overwhelming majority of Americans are going to turn around and be like, you know what? I think it was awesome that Israel has been doing this unlimited child for the past 19 months. I actually changed my mind because some random dumbass named Hasanabi got banned off Twitch. So I think my opinion on this has changed surely. Yeah. Now that this guy's gone from this one platform, okay? Now that we have banned this one guy from this one platform, I'm saying 10M Israel highs every morning, as a matter of fact. Like, is that how you think this is going to work? Like, what are you, stupid? Are you insane? It's just so stupid. The anti-defamation guy just defamed you. Yeah. No, it's the Always Defamation League. It's the Apartheid Defense League, or also known as the Always Defaming League.
Moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times.
They think you are much more important and prominent than you actually are. In a way, they're glazing you technically by hyping you up to this extent. I know. I think part of the reason why they're doing that, is because I am one of the, I am actively working against their best interests. If their goal is to make sure, on the one hand, continue brainwashing young Americans into being pro-Israel, specifically young American Jews into being pro-Israel, a guy who actively fights against anti-Semitism, who also is a hardline anti-Zionist, is a big threat. This is why I kept repeating over and over again, like, for these guys, they don't give a fuck Owens, because they can always point to Candace Owens and say, see, she's anti-Semitic. They can always point to someone like Dan Bilzerian and say, obviously this guy is anti-Semitic. That's why he hates Israel. But for someone like myself, they have to stretch as hard as they can to be like, I promise you he's anti-Semitic. Just take my word for it. He's so anti-Semitic. Why is he anti-Semitic? Because he contextualizes how militant resistance exists against the apartheid state that has been doing an apartheid for 77 years and now doing a unlimited genocide. Like, that's the reason why I'm anti-Semitic. Most Americans agree with me. Shut the up. Let's see what the majority report said.
Who went on CNN and went after Hasan Piker, who, by the way, was just detained for his speech coming back into the country. This is absolutely despicable.
It's fascist.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state.
That's a heinous smear. That's defamation.
I would sue over that if I was Hasan. That is 100% slanderous.
Go for it.
I know, but like, I don't think there's a court out there that will be favorable to my opinion here. You know what I mean? Also, once again, a costly endeavor that I do not want to engage with. I feel like it's a distraction.
He should. He's got money. He should sue him. Honestly,
be wonderful.
That is beyond what I was expecting. I had not seen that clip.
Well, they've shown. Sorry, Bender, I got heated. Go on.
No, I mean, that is a direct accusation of a very specific thing that Hasan has not done. And if I was Hasan, I would look into my legal rights here and go after them.
What is happening with Twitter, man? Work, Twitter, work! Twitter, god damn it. At a certain point, taking legal action in slander defamation becomes important when it actually does impact your profile to a significant event. Is there a point where you would do this? Does Lolo know you are his client? Yes, he knows. I talked to him this morning. You should sue, though, because your case is clear-cut, can provide precedent that other smaller creators could use for cover. Sure, you don't care, but what if they use the same heat later for Frogan or Dennis? Shouldn't you preempt that? I'll think about it. it is kind of wild that he got so horny that he just like hit me with a total textbook case of defamation. But I suspect that the ADL has like incredible lawyers. You know what I mean?
Not done. And if I was Hasan, I would look into my legal rights here and go after this guy and the organization he's speaking for, honestly.
The ADL has shown that they can be cowed by money. They accused rightly Elon Musk of anti-Semitism when he endorsed the Great Replacement theory on social media. Then it's just like a little weird. Suddenly, they were really pro Elon Musk.
Maybe less money and more just, oh, you're going to work with us because we're a fascist government doing fascism, and you have the ear of the Americans.
I mean, I think that it could be a coincidence, but also Starlink started to work with the Israeli government, and then what do you know? A year later, they're turning the other cheek when Elon Musk is endorsing the far-right German party that says that we should leave the Holocaust in the past and quit remembering, and then doing Nazi salutes at the inauguration, repeated, as AOC said at the time, for emphasis and clarity. They've shown that they can look the other way on that, but...
Could we rewind a little bit just so I could fully hear exactly what he accused Hasan of doing? Because if he had claimed Hasan was sharing anti-Semitic rhetoric, that'd be a little bit harder to go after, because you could claim a lot of things are anti-Semitic. That's sort of in the eye of the beholder, right? But we have made clear. We have made it very clear over this past year, especially from people like him and the ADL, that accusing someone of genocide is a very specific framework. And for you to
that's what's so crazy. He's saying that I'm doing genocidal rhetoric against the Jews while his entire purpose is defending the state of Israel while Israel is doing a genocide. My anti-genocide position, he claims, is a genocidal statement against all Jews. Like, what a psychotic thing to say. I can't wait for every single drama-loving slop tuber to also turn around and be like, this is Hasan. Hasan did this for the record. Because I'm sure that's coming as well.
Declare that someone is using genocidal rhetoric against a specific group of people, that is slander. And without a doubt, Hasan should go after them if that's indeed what he said, and I'm pretty sure he did.
Let's hear it.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly. But all of us need to call.
But I mean, do you see how he conflates like Jewish people broadly with a Jewish state, like the ethno-nationalist state of Israel? And to be fair, like he's doing just like we were talking about with the South Africans, right? He's trying to make their inability to hold control over a state, a piece of land, as an ethno-nationalist state. Because we know that a lot of people in Israel who are Zionists think that the one state solution, the state where they have equal representation for Palestinians, equal representation for Israel, is the genocide they're referring to. They're not referring to the total eradication of Israelis, Jewish Israelis by Arabs. They're referring to a changing of the structure that prevents there from being an ethno-nationalist state, an apartheid state, which provides special rights for Israelis and that creates a permanent underclass of Palestinians. And unlike in the situation with the white South Africans, they are able to more readily reference and index the actual genocide that happened to Jewish people and cloak themselves in the veil of people who, are
Yeah, Randy Fine, by the way, in response to the killing of the Israeli embassy staff in Washington, a Republican congressman went on Fox News and suggested Gaza be nuked like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is deemed an appropriate response to the killing of 2 Zionists. Then what is an appropriate response to the murders of tens of thousands of Palestinians? Zionists routinely call for genocide after experiencing a fraction of the violence they subject Palestinians to daily. Hasan gets targeted by shitlib and neo-Nazi slop tubers and communities for being anti-genocide. Now Hasan supposedly regularly employs genocidal rhetoric. Give me a break. Yeah. This is basically, they're reincarnated.
The fact of the matter is the Palestinian cause is an evil one.
Yeah, and Congressman, there is a ceasefire deal on the table right now that the White House is hoping both Israel and Hamas will sign on to. Does this shooting change anything when it comes to the course of the war or the negotiations to end it?
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated.
We heard in Brooks.
The fact of the matter.
Freak. Fucking freak, dude. Absolute freak. I do want to explain something to people, okay? I want to explain something to people. First of all, the edits on this was so damaging, okay? First of all, JD Vance comes in hot. My heart breaks for the 2 Jews who were murdered last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Anti-Semitic violence has no place in the United States. We're praying for their families and our friends at the Israeli embassy where the 2 victims work. Then he gets corrected. He goes, my heart breaks for Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lishinsky, who were murdered last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Anti-Semitic violence has no place in the United States. We're praying for their families and all of our friends at the Israeli embassy. Okay. Now, the thing is like, I want to make a comparison here to something important. Okay. This is something that I've noticed and something that I've talked about. Okay. Something that I've noticed and something that I've talked about is that in the United States of America, our interests are so invested in simply defending Israel, whatever violent form Israel takes, defending that unconditionally, that those who also defend Israel are considered a part of the in-group of being Jewish. You are more a Jew, even if you are Christian, even if you're a German Christian, you are more of a Jew in the eyes of all of these people that love Israel. Remember, way more Christian Zionists out there than there are Jewish Zionists. Important to recognize. But you are seen as more of a Jewish person than an Israeli Jew that got beat up by Kahanists in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago when not a single peep was made by mainstream media. That was an Israeli Jewish woman that got beat up by rabid, sociopathic, Kahanist terrorists on Brooklyn streets. And not a single peep was made by mainstream media, despite the fact that she was literally a person who has an Israeli passport. Why? Because she was an anti-Zionist, okay? If you are a Jew and anti-Zionist, you're no longer a Jew in the eyes of those who want to make a statement about Israel. And if you're not Jewish, but you work for Israel, if you're not Jewish and you literally go and you serve in the IDF, you are more of a Jewish person in the eyes of the media than someone who literally is an anti-Zionist Jew with a Israeli passport. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Clearly, these motherfuckers give a shit about anti-Semitism, okay? They don't care. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And the dangerous underlying premise there is you're not a Jewish person if you're not pro-Israel, okay? The dangerous underlying premise here is the notion, the false notion that all Jews are monolithic and love Israel and love the child murder that Israel is doing. They are fully on board. It's like literally offensively saying, if you don't like ISIS, you're Islamophobic. It blows my mind. And the people that present this argument are so brain broken. They're so oblivious to how much resentment has calcified against Israel for good reason that they don't realize that they are serving an anti-Semitic purpose when they behave like this, when they literally make blood libel the reality in the eyes of so many people that are uninitiated, that don't really think about these things at all. They don't recognize what they're doing in terms of manifesting more anti-Semitic thought. They realize, don't be ridiculous. No, they don't. Plenty of people don't realize what they're doing. I promise you they don't. Because at the end of the day, you think liberal Zionist Jews that live in the United States of America are seeing the mountainous wave of anti-Semitism that will inevitably fire on them? Do you think? No, they don't realize it. They don't realize it at all. The Israeli government doesn't give. Israeli government relies, like Zionists in Israel rely on this kind of anti-Semitic sentiment exploding in the Western world. This way, you have to go and defend, even if you're a Jew living in diaspora, you have to defend Israel. You have to fight for Israel because there's no other country that will save you. See, the Holocaust will happen. Look at all this anti-Semitism that's like exploding, right? That is the attitude that like the Israeli government broadly has. They don't mind anti-Semitism existing in the West. They actually benefit from it. Is this going to lead to a crystal knock? And if yes, why? I don't think so. I don't think this is... Obviously, it's affecting you, so it's not like anyone else is saying this, but it might be a good idea to slow your talking down just a little bit so you can catch something that'll clip before it actually gets clipped, especially if you're going to become a regular topic of the news law. But again, yeah, it's fine.